Hello everyone, and welcome back to History of the Ancient World. Today we journey back in time to Mesoamerica to uncover the story of one of history's most fascinating and often misunderstood civilizations, the Aztecs. When you hear the word Aztec, what comes to mind? Towering pyramids? Fierce warriors in elaborate feather headdresses? Or perhaps the magnificent sprawling city of Tenochtitlan, built on an island in the middle of a lake? The Aztecs were all of these things, and so much more. Their empire, which flourished in central Mexico from the 14th to the 16th centuries, was a marvel of engineering, social organization, and cultural richness. But their story isn't just about a powerful empire. It's about a people with deep spiritual beliefs, a complex social structure, and a unique worldview that shaped every aspect of their lives. So, how did this nomadic tribe, once considered outsiders, rise to build one of the most powerful empires in the Americas? Let's dive in and explore the incredible world of the Aztecs. The story of the Aztecs begins with a humble group of Nahuatl-speaking people, the Mexica. According to their legends, they migrated from a mythical northern homeland called Aztlan, which is where the name Aztec comes from. For decades they wandered, searching for a divine sign promised by their patron god Huitzilopochtli. This sign was an eagle perched on a cactus, devouring a serpent. Imagine their relief and awe when they finally found this exact scene on a small, marshy island in Lake Texcoco. It was here, around the year 1325, that they founded their capital city, Tenochtitlan. This legendary symbol is so powerful that it remains at the heart of Mexico's national flag today. But building a city on a swampy island was no easy task. The early settlers faced immense challenges, from flooding to a lack of building materials. Yet, their ingenuity was boundless. To overcome these obstacles, the Aztecs developed an incredible agricultural system called Chinampas. These were essentially man-made islands, created by weaving webs of reeds and piling mud and vegetation on top. These floating gardens were incredibly fertile, allowing the Aztecs to harvest multiple crops a year, feeding a rapidly growing population. This agricultural innovation was the foundation of their economic power. Alongside their farming prowess, the Aztecs were brilliant engineers. They built a sophisticated network of causeways and bridges to connect their island city to the mainland, as well as aqueducts to bring fresh water from nearby springs. In just a few generations, Tenochtitlan transformed from a humble settlement into a bustling metropolis, one of the largest and most impressive cities in the world at the time, rivaling any in Europe. Its central precinct, with the magnificent Templo Mayor, or Great Temple, stood as a testament to the devotion and architectural genius. The heart of Aztec society was its rigid social structure, which was organized like a pyramid. At the very top was the emperor, the Huey Tlatoani, or Great Speaker. He was seen as a semi-divine ruler, responsible for leading the military, overseeing religious ceremonies, and maintaining cosmic balance. Below him were the nobles, or pili. This class included high-ranking priests, military leaders, and government officials. They lived lives of privilege, owning land and enjoying luxuries unavailable to commoners. The vast majority of the population, however, were the Maxhualtin, or commoners. This group included farmers, artisans, merchants, and soldiers. While they had fewer rights than the nobility, they were the backbone of the empire, working the land, crafting goods, and fighting its wars. A unique and respected group among the commoners were the Pochteca, the long-distance merchants. They not only traded valuable goods like turquoise, cacao, and exotic feathers, but they also served as spies for the emperor, gathering intelligence from distant lands. At the bottom of the social ladder were the serfs, and finally, the slaves. Slavery in the Aztec world was different from the chattel slavery practiced in Europe. It wasn't based on race, and it wasn't typically a lifelong condition. A person could become a slave as a punishment for a crime or to pay off a debt. Slaves could even own property, have their own slaves, and buy their own freedom. Their children were born free. This system, while still a form of bondage, allowed for a degree of social mobility that was rare in many other ancient societies. Education was also a cornerstone of Aztec life. All children, regardless of their social class, attended school. Boys from noble families went to the Kamikak, where they received rigorous training in religion, governance, and warfare. Commoner boys attended the Telpochcali, focusing more on practical skills and military training. This emphasis on education ensured that the empire had a steady supply of capable administrators, priests, and warriors. Religion was intricately woven into every single aspect of Aztec existence. They worshipped a vast pantheon of gods and goddesses, each governing different aspects of nature and human activity. Huitzilopochtli, the god of the sun and war, was their principal deity. The Aztecs believed they were the people of the sun and that Huitzilopochtli needed constant nourishment to battle the darkness of night and rise each day. This belief led to the practice for which the Aztecs are most infamous: human sacrifice. For the Aztecs, sacrifice was not an act of cruelty, but a sacred duty, a necessary offering to maintain the cosmic order and ensure the survival of the universe. They believed the blood and hearts of victims contained a divine energy that fed the gods. Victims were often prisoners of war, captured in flower wars, ritualistic battles fought specifically to obtain captives for sacrifice. While this practice is shocking to modern sensibilities, it was a deeply ingrained part of their spiritual worldview. Beyond Huitzilopochtli, other important deities included Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, god of wisdom, wind, and creation, and Tlaloc, the powerful god of rain and fertility, who could bring life-giving showers or devastating storms. Aztec religious life was filled with a cycle of elaborate festivals and ceremonies timed to their two calendars, a 365-day solar calendar for agriculture and a 260-day sacred calendar for rituals. The alignment of these two calendars every 52 years marked a special and sometimes fearful time, as they believed the world could end if the proper ceremonies were not performed. Priests held immense power, interpreting the will of the gods, studying astronomy, and serving as healers. Their cosmology was complex, envisioning a world with multiple levels of heavens and underworlds through which a soul had to journey after death. This deep spiritual foundation guided every decision, from planting crops to waging war. The Aztec Empire was not a centralized state in the modern sense, but a hegemonic empire built on tribute. Through military conquest, the Aztecs, in alliance with the city-states of Texcoco and Tlacopan, forming the famous Triple Alliance, subjugated surrounding peoples. Instead of directly governing these conquered territories, they allowed local rulers to remain in power on one condition: they had to pay regular tribute to Tenochtitlan. This tribute came in many forms: food, textiles, precious metals, jade, exotic feathers, and most importantly, captives for sacrifice. This system allowed the Aztec capital to amass incredible wealth and resources, fueling its growth and splendor. However, it also created deep-seated resentment among the conquered city-states. Many of them lived under the constant threat of Aztec military might and were drained of their resources. This widespread discontent would later become a critical weakness for the empire. The arrival of the Spanish, led by Hernán Cortés in 1519, marked the beginning of the end for the Aztec Empire. When the conquistadors first laid eyes on Tenochtitlan, they were stunned. One of Cortés's soldiers, Bernal Díaz del Castillo, wrote that it seemed like something from a dream. The city was a marvel of planning and beauty. Initially, the Aztec emperor, Moctezuma II, welcomed Cortés, possibly believing he was the returning god Quetzalcoatl. However, the relationship quickly soured. The Spaniards' lust for gold and their attempts to impose Christianity clashed violently with Aztec culture. The crucial turning point came when Cortés was able to exploit the resentment of the Aztecs' subject peoples. He forged alliances with tribes like the Tlaxcalans, who had long resisted Aztec rule and were eager for revenge. These native allies provided the Spanish with tens of thousands of warriors, a force far greater than Cortés's small band of soldiers. The final siege of Tenochtitlan in 1521 was brutal. The city was cut off from its supplies of food and fresh water. But what truly devastated the Aztecs was something they couldn't see or fight: disease. Smallpox, brought over from Europe, swept through the population, which had no natural immunity. The disease killed a huge portion of the city's defenders, including the new emperor, Cuitlahuac, weakening them far more than any weapon could. After months of fierce fighting, Tenochtitlan fell. The magnificent city was razed, and on its ruins the Spanish began to build Mexico City. The fall of the Aztec Empire was a pivotal moment in world history, marking the end of a powerful Mesoamerican civilization and the beginning of Spanish colonial rule in the Americas. Despite its violent end, the legacy of the Aztec civilization endures. Their language, Nahuatl, is still spoken by over 1 million people in Mexico today, and words like chocolate, tomato, and avocado have entered languages around the globe. Aztec art, with its powerful symbolism and intricate designs, continues to inspire. Their advanced knowledge of astronomy, medicine, and engineering speaks to their intellectual achievements. The story of the Aztecs is a powerful reminder of the heights of ingenuity and cultural complexity that a civilization can reach, but also of the fragility of empires and the devastating impact of conquest. They were more than just warriors and pyramids. They were poets, astronomers, engineers, and artists who created a world of breathtaking complexity and beauty. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of the Aztecs. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to History of the Ancient World for more deep dives into our shared past. We'll see you in the next one.